Hi, Maria Franzoni here. I'm going to talk to you today about cancellation terms. I think I've spoken to you before about payment terms, but let's talk about cancellation terms. So first of all, do you really need to have cancellation terms? And are you entitled to a cancellation fee? And let me say the answer is yes and yes. So let's dive into it. Let's start with the last bit first. Why would you be entitled to a cancellation fee? I mean, client cancels an event that they booked you for, doesn't happen, you haven't gone there, you haven't delivered, you haven't spoken. Why should you be paid? Well, let me tell you why you should be paid. Firstly, because you've actually booked that date in your diary, you've held it, you've turned down other work, hopefully. So because you're that much in demand, or you might not have turned down other work, but anyway, you've held the date and you've planned for it. You also may have done some preparation. You may have prepared your content. You might have done some research. You've done some legwork. You may even have done a briefing. Depending on how close you are to the date, you may even be more prepared than that. So you are entitled to be compensated for the fact that you have signed a contract to do an event and now you're no longer doing it, and that you're not going to then get paid to do it, or you're going to miss out on the opportunities of doing it. So what's a reasonable payment? What's a reasonable compensation? And I use the word reasonable because it's important. In law, things have to be reasonable. And it's reasonable to ask for your fee or a portion of your fee. You could say it's a bit unreasonable to ask for more than that, but actually it's not. And let me explain why. So first of all, let's talk about matching your cancellation terms to your payment terms, just to make your life easy. So in the Bureau, we ask for a 50% payment at the time of signing. So if a client then cancels at any time after they've signed, the cancellation fee is 50%. It's easy. We've got the money. There's no need for us to chase for more. And it's in the contract that the deposit is non-refundable if they cancel, and it's 50% cancellation fee. So that's easy, and it means that the cancellation terms and the payment terms match. As we get nearer to the event, that goes up to 100%. So 30 days or less, it's 100%. And our payment terms state that if we get to 30 days, or the speaker client has booked, they pay the balance 30 days before the event. So it all matches, it all works. There's actually some kind of process and system. Wow. And we limit the cancellation to 50% or 100%, depending on when they cancel. And you're saying to me, what do you mean limit? Do you mean I could have more than that? Yes, you could. We call the cancellation fee a liquidated damage. And I've got the definition here actually from Wikipedia so that I get it right, because I don't want to make a mistake. So a liquidated damage, also referred to as liquidated and ascertained damage, are damages whose amount the parties designate during the formation of a contract for the injured party to collect as compensation upon a specific breach, which might be late performance, might be cancellation, whatever it might be. They give the example of late performance. For us, it's cancellation. When damages are not predetermined, this is the interesting bit, or assessed in advance, then the amount recoverable is said to be at large, to be agreed or determined by a court or tribunal in the event of breach. Now, you don't want to leave it at large. You don't want to have to go to a tribunal or to a court every time you have a cancellation to agree what the amount is, or you don't want to be at risk of not getting paid anything. However, if it is at large, you could technically say, by not speaking at this event, I actually have lost out not only the fee for that event, but the fact that I would have sold books because I always sell books, or the fact that I would have got another booking, or the fact that I would have got more work, etc., etc. If you can prove it, you could technically get more than the cancellation fee. So in reality, we're actually protecting both the client and the speaker by limiting the cancellation fee to 100% of the speaking fee. Interesting, huh? Here's another interesting thought for you, which you might not have considered, which came up actually when I was talking to a speaker the other day. And I said to them, so here's the thing. If you take 100% cancellation fee, even 50%, but it applies more when you're taking 100%, 100% cancellation fee from a client, and then you get booked for that same date that you've received your cancellation fee for, and you go and you take your full fee payment, what have you lost? Now, there's an argument to say that actually that client that has paid you 100% cancellation fee could ask for their money back. You would have to prove that actually that compensation is different because this event is not the same, I don't have the same opportunities, it's not the same level of audience, etc. It could get quite sticky. So what I would say to you here is, one, be aware of the fact that if you do get a replacement gig, you might have a little bit of a moral onus on doing something for that other client, or just don't advertise it on social media, just keep it quiet, keep it on the down low, don't rub their faces in it. Okay, what about if a client wants to postpone an event or change the date? So for me, a postponement or change of date is actually it's a new gig. It's not the same gig. The date forms part of the contract. The date, it's like, when you're getting married on a wedding, that's the date you're getting married. Everybody's coming to that date. Everybody's coming to that event. If you don't get married on that date, you stand the guy up the altar. I'm not thinking of this, by the way. It hasn't happened. Therefore, it's a new wedding. It's a new. If he's going to give you another chance, it's the same thing with an event. I'm sorry, I've got wedding on the mind at the moment. Anyway, so for me, I treat it as a completely new event. I treat it as a completely new gig. So I would say the cancellation still applies. However, when we're working with a client, it's at the speaker's discretion. And if the speaker says, I value that relationship with the client, it's actually not inconvenient for me to change it. It suits me to change a date. If we're postponing it and I know what the postponed date is and we have it agreed by a certain time. So you can choose to waive your cancellation fee, but you can only choose to do that if you've had it agreed in the first place. So give a thought to cancellation fees, put them in your contracts. And if you want some help with wording, you know where I am. All right, cheers.